why do we need an index? Why is it so important to rate and rank funds and to understand who is really doing what? If you look at the history of investor-led collaborations over the last 10 to 15 years, it's very interesting. Of course, we have the Carbon Disclosure Project, which launched in 2001, that has become the largest disclosure of companies anywhere in the world. CDP, as it's now known, has ensured that we have really, really good emissions disclosure from over 80% of companies around the world. And that was driven in part by a large number of signatories from asset owners of all types that essentially lodged requests with the companies for them to report on their emissions. In 2005, we had the development of the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment, now known as the PRI. And since then, we've had investor groups on climate change arise all around the world. But still, what has been missing is a league table of who is actively doing anything about the risk. There's no doubt that there's been some very, very positive intention amongst some of the investors and asset owners in particular in the last decade. But what we don't see is material evidence of who is actually translating that intention into material action at a portfolio level and how they're engaging with the companies that they invest in. What we now need to do is to understand which of the asset owners are actively managing the risk across all of the 5 categories that we use in the AODP index, and that's what this league table provides. We need a much more perfect market so that beneficiaries can eventually choose which pension fund that they want their funds, their retirement savings, to be held in. We need beneficiaries to be able to put pressure on their own pension funds in order to say, look, we can see exactly what you're doing and we want you to do more. We'd like funds to be moved, of course, to where the leaders are. This isn't always easy because there are large amounts of regulation governing pension systems in each individual jurisdiction. But even within the jurisdictions, what we want is for beneficiaries and members to understand that their retirement savings are at risk if the risk that we're talking about, climate change, isn't managed properly, and that to create pressure on the laggard funds to implement best practice as quickly as they can.